So I'm Brett from IOT Global. We are an IT company that started many years ago doing things from internet connectivity when dial-up was around, then fiber, then internet hosting, anything to do with internet. That was the start of our business, and then we sort of looked into other avenues, and this avenue that we came into purely came by accident. I started tracking bicycles. One of our businesses was bringing electric bicycles into the country, so we started tracking bicycles. And a very good friend of my daughter, her dad is a farmer in KZN. And we had a few beers and we chatted, and he was interested in the trackers, and he asked, can we track cattle? Because he was losing about 1.5 million rand a year for the last 7 to 8 years. Every year. He spent 18,000 rand a month on guards looking after his cattle, and he still lost 1.5 million every year. And that wasn't the real problem. The real problem was him running around Friday night, Saturday night, when he should be catering and drying and resting, because he's a farmer. And he spent his whole life chasing and running around, chasing stock thieves. So he came to me and said, surely there must be something we can do and start tracking. So we started getting small trackers, from China, and putting them into collars. We made them into collars, and it worked. It used a network called Sigfox. I don't know if you guys are aware of Sigfox. Have you heard of Sigfox? Okay, so Sigfox is a national, well, it's actually worldwide. It came from France. It's in South Africa, and it is a very low frequency radio frequency network. So it's on an 868 megahertz. So it's very low, and it goes into all sorts of places. We started using Sigfox, but what we found was Sigfox was reliant on someone else. So the power was always down, the internet was down, and then our solution wouldn't work. And then we had to find a way to fix it. So what we did is we found another network called LoRaWAN. I don't know if any of you are familiar with LoRaWAN. LoRa. L-O-R-A. So LoRa stands for long range. So what LoRa is also from Europe. And what it is exactly the same as Sigfox. It's just another network, but it's the same frequency. And what it is towers are put up around the world. It's very big in Europe, and in South Africa we're rolling it out. It's becoming quite prevalent all over South Africa now. Especially in your towns, there's lots of coverage. And obviously we are rolling out our company. We look after the Sigfox towers. It's one of our divisions of our company, so that's why we know a lot about the network. We're big in wireless internet. That's part of our business. So hence why we thought this is the right business for us to get into, because we already understand it. We understand what radio frequencies and wireless. So we then got into the network, and we eventually put up, well, so far we've got about 150 gateways countrywide. Most of them are in KZN because that's where we started, and that's where our customers are, and we literally grow like that. Now, the beauty of LoRaWAN is that it's not expensive. We can put it up ourselves. I'm going to show you some gateways and what they look like. There's different types, more expensive ones and really cheap ones. These devices will go up on a house, on a farm stall, on a water tower, or anywhere where you've got elevation. It's the best. You can go as high as possible. We then put booster antennas on them. And the range that we've got, the record I've got in KZN was 106 kilometers from a tracking device of a cow to one of our towers. So it's big distance. We don't need a lot of them. It's nice to have 3 or 4 of them in an area, because then they all overlap each other, like they form like a mesh. Okay, so the network is the most important thing with this whole solution. The trackers are trackers. I mean, there's thousands of trackers around in the world. We have found the best tracker, and luckily it is made in South Africa, but it's an Australian company, head office. So they were South African guys. They've moved to Australia. They still manufacture in South Africa. We do pay for them in dollars, unfortunately. It's priced in dollars, but we pay in rands. So we are affected by the exchange rate, unfortunately, but it's still a very good quality product for the price. And I haven't yet to send one back for a warranty claim. They've upped the warranty to 2 years now, so we have a 2-year warranty on this hardware. And if something does go wrong with it, we just swap it out and replace it. But I haven't had one yet. Okay, so the devices themselves will talk to the LoRa network. This device just sends, okay? It just sends out at a specific time, either in motion, a certain amount of motion, or it'll send every 20 minutes or every half an hour, whatever you prefer. What we prefer for the solution to save you batteries, because batteries is very important for you don't want to keep changing these collars on an animal. I know how hard it is. Okay, so the batteries are normal, standard lithium batteries you buy in the Spar and Checkers. It's the Energizer lithium AA's in the big tracker. Okay, so the tracker goes onto a collar which we've now made. And this was developed and designed by my customers. My customers, we started at a certain collar and it's changed like 3 times. So this collar now, we seem to think we've got it right. I'm getting a lot of feedback, and it's positive, that the collars aren't coming off anymore. In the beginning, collars would come off. We used a plastic shielded galvanized cable, and what would happen is the sun would get to it, the water would get inside, it would rust, and then an animal would get caught on a fence and it would just snap quite easily. So these are not coming off. Okay, so I'm going to hand this around so you guys can touch and feel and see what it's like and the quality of it. It is loose at the moment because we haven't tightened it up. But we normally tighten one side, and then you get the animal into the crush, and you can put it around the neck, and then put it to the whatever size animal it is, and then you just use a 8 socket with a drill gun. Very quick, and then when the animal if it's a young animal, you can always adjust it as it grows. Okay, so I'm going to just pass it around while I'm checking, just so you can get a feel of it, and I'll have the devices around as well. And this is a smaller device. This is for sheep and goats. You can also put them on cattle, it's not a problem, but the smaller ones don't have the battery life that the large ones do. Okay, so the battery life on the large ones, we're looking at about 20,000 locations on a set of batteries. For the smaller one, you're looking at closer to about 8,000 positions. So it's about half, it's less than half on the smaller devices. I'm just going to show you.
Brett, may we ask you questions throughout? Did you wait for the end?
No, please go ahead and ask questions. Obviously, the network we've covered now. If there's anything about the network, please go ahead and ask. So then I don't leave anything out.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering, those batteries that you have got now in there. Never came up with something else for different battery system, or those batteries that can maybe last longer than your normal AAAs or AA. What was it? AAs?
Yeah. So those are not the normal Duracell like AAs. They're lithiums. Okay. So the lithiums, those last the longest out of all batteries that you can get. So the only way to get longer battery life is to get a bigger battery pack. And obviously, then you're talking about changing the whole design of the device. And what we found is having the device set optimally, the way we set the device, gives us between 1 and 1.5 years. You could even get more depending on how we set them. And I'm going to go through how we set devices now, and you'll get an understanding of how we can save batteries even further.
How big is the device inside?
So it's just the PC board, and then you've got a battery holder pack. It's got where the 3 lithium packs go. So it's very tight in there. There's not much space, but to put more batteries, it would mean changing the whole design. Then we're voiding warranties. So that device is warranted. Obviously, the seal is very good. You can put those through dips. You can put them through rivers. In the weather, no problem. We've changed batteries probably 3 times on these devices, and they still keep going. So they're very durable. The quality of the build is very good. That's why they're not cheap. You do get cheaper trackers around the world, Chinese trackers, but we found the support and the quality on these are just second to none. And once they're on an animal, you don't want to be fiddling around and taking them off and have a device that doesn't work.
So if the battery gets flat, does he warn you? How do you know that?
If the battery gets, yes, there's a battery level on the device. Every time it sends, it gives a battery voltage. So the battery voltage starts on those at about 5.3, 5.4 volts when you've got 3 full charge batteries. We start losing them at around about 4.6 volts. We've even had some that last as long as 3.9 volts. Not every battery is made equally, unfortunately. some batches will maybe give you a little bit longer life than others. But as a rule, 4.7, need to start thinking about changing the batteries. Okay, that's the rule.
Sorry, you say it's double A.
It's the double A.
But normally they're 1.5. How can you get to 5?
Yeah, 1.5 times 3
Yes.
is 4.5, but the lithium, they're called lithium, not ultra, lithium, I should have one around here, I'll put it somewhere. When actually open one up, I'll show you what they look like.
This is a technical question. I don't know how you get to 5 volts from only 4.5 volts.
Yes, I know, but it does. It's obviously gives us more. When we actually test the battery, we get up to like 1.8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's why those batteries, we have clients that can't get them in a certain area, and they buy the normal Duracells, and they're literally 1/5 of the life of those lithiums. Those lithiums are the best. We've tried to find other batteries, cheaper batteries, but we found those the best. The LoRa network these are the devices. This is what we call, this is the home gateway. We call it like a home gateway. So you could take this device, plug a network cable into it, plug it into your normal router, your internet router at home, and power. And this device has a 2.5 dB antenna, which will probably give you about 2 kilometers around your farm. Okay. Then we would put a 6.5 dB antenna, and we can get up to 100 kilometers, depending on the elevation. Okay. And obviously hills and things, it doesn't go through hills. It'll kind of go over. It'll miss someone right on the other side of the hill, but then another tower will catch it from another angle. So when this device sends out, it gets received by all the antennas, and the first strongest antenna will then send that data back to us, back to our server. And then our server will then do the stuff, the clever stuff in the background with it. In other words, check to see, has it geofence breached? Has the speed exceeded speed? And then it starts doing its thing in the back end of our service. Okay, so this is the gateway. You then have a LTE gateway. This is a LTE gateway. This one has 2 SIM cards in it. We have a Vodacom and an MTN SIM card in it that will keep switching between networks. So if your Vodacom goes down, it'll jump to MTN. It'll also take a network cable, so you can have it on internet connection from your wireless supplier, and you can have Vodacom, and you can have MTN. So the chances of you being down are highly unlikely. Okay, and obviously all our gateways, we make sure we have a battery backup on it for at least 8 hours. So if there's load shedding for 4 hours, it'll be covered. A Sigfox did not have that. That's why we moved away from Sigfox, and they refused to put batteries on their gateway, on their towers. So we couldn't go with that solution. We found that this solution, the LoRa network versus the Sigfox network, same devices, because the same company makes for LoRa and for Sigfox, we get double the battery life on the LoRa network. Don't ask me how or why. Same device, we just get better battery from the LoRa. So that's why we've gone with LoRa, and it's been very successful so far. We've had no issues. Okay, so that's the network. So I'm just going to talk while I unscrew this. Are there any questions on the network so far? Any
the coverage in bush?
No problem. Yeah. So trees, not a problem. Even buildings, it gets through windows and buildings, not a problem. I had a gateway in Botswana. It was 39,000 hectares. One gateway covered the entire farm. It took him 9 hours to drive his perimeter fence, and there were 1 or 2 little sections where we would get refraction. So what happens is the signal hits like throwing a stone at water and it bounces. We would get a bit of that. So if there was a bit of a copy, it would hit that and then bounce over and then miss the guy when he was driving there. But then if you had one gateway there, you would get it. Okay, so the signal, it amazes us how far the signal reaches and how far it goes with so few gateways. So that's why it's very important. It's great to talk to a bunch of you, because if a couple of you are sort of in regions of each other, you can have one there, one there, one there, and you're all helping each other, because the network will help everybody and will get to everybody, and that's how this thing works the best. Rather than putting one gateway up for one customer, it's better to have several gateways up around to catch all the signal.
What's your current coverage here in this area?
So I don't have any gateways in this area. Yeah, I've had quite a bit of contact from farmers have contacted us, asked questions, but I've never supplied up here.
And how many customers do you need before you put up network?
One.
Is
Yeah.
it
So
feasible?
yeah. So the model works this way. You buy one tracker from me, I'm going to have to sell you a gateway, but the gateway is at our cost price. It's not expensive. You put one at your house, it's going to cost you $4,500 for the gateway, and a tracker is going to cost you $2,000. Okay, and it's going to cost you 55 Rand a month for one tracker. But if you buy 50 trackers, I'm going to throw in a gateway or two, depending on the lay of the land. If it's all very flat, you just put one gateway. But if you've got a farm that's on the other side, then we need to put a couple up. So gateways aren't an issue. What is an issue is the location of a gateway. So if you've got farms that are sort of got high areas, or you've got cell phone towers on them, it could be far away from
I
us.
thought you meant the LoRaWAN is a WAN,
No.
independent WAN, but you still needed to program it and to get the data or process it.
100%. It has to get back to our backend, to our service. Okay, so we use a network, the LoRaWAN network. We use a server group called TTN. It's called the Things Network. Now, the Things Network it's out of Amsterdam. We go to their conference every year, and it just grows and grows and grows, and more products come. That's why, if you guys can give me the problems that you're having, I can then, when I see those products that they've already developed and tested in other countries, I can bring it to you, because you've already got your network now, because you've got your tracking network. We can now put soil moisture content readers, we can put weather stations. I know a lot of you've got them already, but you're using cellular. And the problem with cellular is it needs towers to work all the time, and a lot of times the towers go down with load shedding. So what we found is we have our gateways very hard at a nice location. Even if you've got load shedding here, our towers are talking to the tower that's in the other town that hasn't got load shedding. Because our gateways can talk to towers much further than your cell phone can, because it has a high gain antenna inside it. Okay, does that answer your question? Excellent. Here are the batteries. These are, you can get them from Checkers, Spar, from anywhere. They are pricey. They've literally doubled in price in the last 6 months because of input costs, they tell us. So a set of batteries we charge 180 Rand for in the tracker, which will last you between a year and a half, up to 2 years.
So it's not rechargeable batteries?
No. You could put rechargeable batteries if you wanted to, but what we found is that those rechargeable batteries aren't giving you the 1.8. And you'll be literally spending more time taking collars on and off and recharging batteries. It'll drive you absolutely nuts. So what we do with this is you look at the overall cost of it, okay, for the solution, and the most important thing so to not scare you off, we put 40 to 30% live collars, and the rest are dummy collars. Okay, so don't think because you've got 1,000 head of cattle that you're going to put 1,000 trackers on. It just doesn't work that way. You can go as low as you like, but then obviously the risk is with you. The risk lies on how few you have. We started at 40%. In KZN, that same farmer, that first farmer got hit 6 times, and we got them 6 times. They ambushed them, got right in front of them. It was lots of fun. So they got the cows back, and they apprehended, and they've stopped it. Okay, so now that farmer's gone down to like 20%. Okay, because he knows they aren't going to come from him anymore, because they know it works. So they steer away from him. They now go to the next farm, or they go to the next area. So you've got to start, I would say, in an area at least 40% live and 60% dummy. But make sure you have a collar on every animal, because they're going to just take ones that don't have collars, and then what's the point? You might as well not even bother. Okay, that's the number one to make the solution work. The second one is you have to have tampers. If you guys have crushers, or what you call them, neck clamps, where you work on your animals, if you have them on your farms and they're not guarded and protected, you must have these. This is what saved probably 3 of those 6 attacks. We nailed them before they even left the crop. They were busy taking collars off. But we knew about it because these are on your gates and then put them on your neck crush as well. The minute that thing moves at 10 o'clock at night, someone's there. Okay, and it gives you time to get there. So these are very, very important. It's almost like it goes one and the same. You're going to have cattle, unless you don't have any crushes. If you don't have crushes on your farm, then you're okay. I would still put these on some gates and fences. Just, you don't see them. And these batteries will last you 10 years because you hardly ever opening the gate. It's only maybe once or twice a day. So this will last forever, the battery. Okay.
Is there a price difference between a tamper and a...
So this is actually a tracker
Okay.
and a tamper, and this is a tracker and a tamper. What makes it a tamper is that we just set it very sensitively,
Okay.
and we tell our back end the minute that thing sends anything to us, any payload, it doesn't matter what it is, alarm, send an alarm because it shouldn't be moving. It does send once a day, and we do that for a reason, is that you must be getting an alarm every day to know your system's working, your phone's working, your phone's on. If you don't get an alarm for 2 days, you go, hang on, what's going on, why? Because you might get a geofence the next day and then you won't even know about it. So having a tamper is nice because you get during the day, you make sure you kick your gate in the daytime, not at 2 in the morning, because then at 2 o'clock the next morning you're going to get an alarm. So it'll be 24 hours from your last activation. If you don't move that device, it will just send again a heartbeat. We call it a heartbeat, but it's a full payload. It'll give you the location, it'll give you battery voltage, it'll give you if it's moved. Okay, so exactly the same device, just smaller, less battery life, so you won't get the longevity on it. That's why with goats and sheep, it's easy to change batteries. You just grab the sheep and change the battery. They share it every 6 months or every year anyway, so you can change your batteries. With cattle, that's why you need the bigger one. You can also put this on a cow if you want to. Some dairy cows, when they put their cows for dry cows, when they send them out, they use these because it's cheaper, and they're only out for 6 months, and then they bring them back in and put them back into production.
With your software that gives you a history of when the alarm, so I can go back, let's say 2 months, and then say, okay, it went off at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, so you can actually see a trend if there's poachers on your farm.
Yes.
So it gives you that history.
For tampers?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. All our stuff is locked. What we did, we had like everything before, like all the stuff, and it just bogged down the system, and all the farmers came back and said, but please, like, we want to make this thing faster. Give me like, I don't even want a month, give me like a week of data. It's there if you want it, but it's not going to be in your app quickly because we want this app to be lightning fast and quick. So when you open it, it works fast. Because remember, you must know, you've got farmers that have got 300 devices. When they open the app, it's getting all that information, pin locations and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what the software looks like. I'd like to try and hook up this, but if we can.
We keep you too busy. We have to give you some time.
Yeah, so we'll get to that with the software, because it might be nice for everyone to see how it actually works and see how the software works. I have got it on my sort of a presentation on a piece of paper that you can look at, but it might be better to look at it live to see how it works. I just need to see if my laptop will. You guys do if they are. You saying when you're chasing someone's okay.
And there's no signal that load shedding is over.
100%. So what we normally do, what we have done in the past, what farmers have done, they always have a security company or a sort of armed response group of guys, okay, whether they have other farmers or whether they're security. So what we do with the app is we share, you'll see when you get into the app, you'll share a notification with anybody you want to. So let's say you've got 10 trackers and 10 or 2 tampers, you will set those up on your phone, and then you'll also get your security company will have an account, security company A. Every device you have, if you want to share it with him, you share that device notifications with him. You can't see the device, you won't see them, but he will get alarms when you get alarms. Likewise, your managers or your kids or your family, they will also, if you want them to. So why we did that is, you have a farmer that's at a braai and the music's going and his phone goes, he doesn't hear it. At least now the son's hearing it, the auntie's hearing it, the security company is already about to head to sea. Okay, so that was something we added later because it was a need. Talking about the coverage, so what we also do is the security companies and the guards. I don't know if you guys do you have guards that guard your cattle, any of you, or do you just leave it up to yourselves?
We pray.
You pray. No, it's good. Well, it proves in KZN, the farmer's paying 18,000 rand a month and he still lost 1.5 million. He's got rid of every single guard now. He only has this, and he pays me 10 grand a month, and he hasn't lost a cow in 4 years. So this device can go onto a guard if you have a guard, or you can have it onto your security vehicle, the patrolling vehicle that patrols around. It's also quite nice. It keeps them on their toes, because you can say, well, hang on, you haven't come past my farm in like 3 weeks. What's going on? I'm paying you, to drive around. So what we do with this, then you can color code this to green, and you can see where your cattle are. And then the security guard, normally they have radios. So then the control room will say, yes, I see where you are. Turn right, go down that way, next to that tree, next to that bush, and they talk on radios. That's how we've recovered in the past, because there is no cell phone signal. So you can have someone at home or someone on their computer looking to see where they're going and then relaying with radios. Do you guys use radios in the area or cell phones? Okay. And the radios are okay? They work quite well with power outages and things? We're all on solar and battery.
Yeah, it's using
Two-way radios?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But cell phones also.
Okay.
A lot of cell phones has been used.
Yeah, so when we get into a case where you don't have any comms and you can't actually track, that's when you jump to the radios. Because there is no cell phone signal where you are with your phone, there is no way of you seeing where it is. But hopefully there'll be someone in a control room or someone at home or someone else that's got comms that can say, yes, you can give him your login and say, listen, log into my app. And he can log in and actually follow and help you. That's what our farmers in KZN have done. And they got hit there plenty. It's almost like a weekend, every weekend. They take it. And it's 30, 40 at a time, not one. They're stealing crazy there. Okay, so that's the tempers. The batteries on here are the triple A's, the smaller but exactly the same make batteries. These are on this side here.
Do you need to have electricity on your farm to be able to, so that boxes can work?
So these, we have them, they will take solar, battery, 12 volts. This takes from 9 volts to 24 volts. So you can connect it straight onto batteries, onto solar charging systems, or power. So these do need to have power, backup power, and they need to be running. And you need to have an internet connection from this to the world so that we can get the information, and then we can then send it to your apps and your phones and so on.
And you use these things in game as well?
For gaming. Yeah, rhinos. Yeah, so we've got in the BT Game Reserve in KZN, I've got 4 gateways covering, I think they've got 12,000 hectares, and very hilly, very mountainous. We also put these on their camera traps. They've got camera traps at all their sort of weak points and fences, and they steal the camera traps. So we stick these on the camera traps, so the minute the camera trap moves, they know there's someone there, and then they can track them.
Will you see the prices on?
The price list. Okay, I'll send you the price list. It works on a bulk purchase. So buying one's going to cost you about 2 grand. And buying 200 is going to cost you probably like 1.6 or 1.8 or something like that. I'll give you all the price lists.
Per color?
Yes, per color. Yeah.
Dummy ones?
Dummy ones are about 400 rand. That's a full dummy collar. So that'll be, that's actually a dummy. Difference in weight's about 200 grams. You don't really tell when it's on the collar. You actually won't tell where a dummy collar or a live collar. We've gone with stainless steel. We used to use galvanized stainless steel. You just keep using them. They're way cheaper long term. More expensive obviously now, but long term it's way cheaper.
Ruth, you want to set up your
Yeah,
software
I'll
and
see if I can
everything?
get my-
Can we take a quick 5-minute break?
Okay, up to now, you're all clear on sort of the network side of things. So the stuff that we need to get through is network, most important. After that, we've talked about the device, LoRaWAN, the gateways, the housings. Just quickly on the housings, this is not like plastic, it's a nylon plastic. So we haven't had one yet break, and we have these things getting smashed against fences and gateposts and everything. There actually has been one that's broken, and that's been a guard. The farmer gave a guard a necklace to walk around with. And can you believe it? He broke it. A car can't break it. He broke it. He must have put it in, he smashed it, and we couldn't even. I could just see a small little dent on the one corner, and it completely smashed the whole battery and everything inside. He obviously just got tired of it because they don't like me. The guards don't like me at KZN because they see me coming. I've got to keep changing my car. They see me coming because it's buggered their whole life up. Because they normally start work at 5 in the evening. By 7 they're asleep before the farmer. They wake up at 4 and then they stroll back to the thing and get their money, get their pay. So this is a game changer. They can check. We set it to every minute for guard tracking. So every minute they should be moving. If they're not moving, they're sleeping or they're sitting down. You can actually see where they've stepped and where they've sat down. And then they get disciplinaries, and most of them resign, they leave, and then they get guards that want to work. And then suddenly the theft slows down as well. So I know you guys don't have guards, but
how much
that's...
does that thing cost?
Sorry?
This moon tracker, how much does it cost?
The guard tracker?
Yeah.
It's the same as a tracker. It's a normal cow tracker. We just put it on a belt thing. But that farmer, the two farmers, the Braithwaites, they put them on that. So they started with like 6 guards. I think 4 have resigned, and they got 4 new ones. And the one guard every day you'd see him walking around the farm, and he'd say, "What are you aren't you tired?" "No, boss, I'm hundreds. I don't need much sleep." And he found out he was sleeping every night. So now he put that collar on. Now he doesn't see the guy in the daytime. He sleeps all day now. So it definitely works. Okay, so this we're going to talk about. So we've done the material of the housings, profile of the tracker. Before we get to the portal, I want to just so that you understand the tracking device, the profile. We call it profile of a tracking device. Every device can be set differently. So if it's on a sheep, it's set differently to a cow. If it's on a bull, it might be set differently to a cow. So what we mean by that is this device measures, we set it to go off at a certain amount of force, of G's, called milli-G's. So you have milli-G's, which is the amount of force, and for milliseconds, that's the amount of time that the device actually moves. So if it's on a cow's neck and it's being herded, it's normally doing, if it's running, it does this, actually bangs. You can actually see it banging. So that's enough force. So what you do is with a cow, we put it to 300 milli-G's by 300 milliseconds, which means it has to move for a certain amount of time at a certain amount of force to actually send a payload to us. We call it a payload, all right, which is the position, okay? If we had it set to normal standard default mode from the factory, it's like a car tracker. So you put in your car, that's set to 63 milli-G's by 80 milliseconds. Okay, so it's quite sensitive. Now, if you put that on a cow, you're going to literally get pings every 10 minutes. It's also set to 10 minutes, maximum 10 minutes. So what it will do is it won't send it every single time. It'll wait 10 minutes, and when it's moving again, it'll send again. It'll wait 10 minutes. If it's not moving, if it's moving, it'll send again. So that's how we reduce the battery usage. Okay, that's how we control how much battery life we're going to get out of this device. If we're on a guard, we don't care. Guard, you're going to bring it back. We're going to change the batteries every 6 months. It's no problem. But a cow, we want it as long as possible. So what we do with cattle is we set it to 300 by 300. We could even go 400 by 400. But then, you stand the risk that if someone herds the cattle away very, very slowly, you might not get enough positions. Okay? The whole point of this thing is that when this animal moves quickly being herded, you must get lots of locations, at least every 10 minutes. Okay? So we set that to 10 minutes, 300 by 300. We then, if it's a guard, 1 minute, 50 milligauss by 10 milliseconds. Literally, the guy just has to roll over and it'll move. Okay. So that's how the devices are set. We get 20,000 positions out of this device with a set of batteries. The smaller one you get about 7 to 8,000. Okay. So you can divide that up, but how many positions a day, you can work out how long your battery is going to last for. So we also switch them off. Most of our farmers switch them off during the day. I don't know if you guys have theft during the day, or is it only at night?
Night.
At night? Okay. So same for you. So we're only now burning batteries for 12 hours of the day. What we do though is we put a 6 hour. So in other words, if this device doesn't move, every 6 hours it'll send a location without moving. Okay? If it moves, the last time it moves is at 4 a.m. and then the cow lies down and sleeping. And it sleeps the rest of the day. It'll get another one at 6 hours later, so it'll be 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning. Whenever. So we normally go 6 at night till 6 in the morning is when we set them to be active with a 6 hour out of movement location. So let's say it falls off lying in the veld, every 6 hours you're going to get a location. And it's easy to find. You just literally go and say, look at the last 3 days, where's that collar been? You're going to see like a whole lot of pings in one place. And you'll go there and there the collar will be lying there. Okay. So that's how the devices are set. We can set them, we set them via a downlink. So the devices don't get many downlinks, they do lots of uplinks. So this device will just send when it is designed to send, when we've set it to send. So enough movement, 300 milligauss, 300 milliseconds, it'll send. It'll wait 10 minutes. Even if it's moving still, it'll wait 10 minutes, it'll send again. So in an hour, if the cow's walking for an hour, you'll get 6 locations in an hour. Okay? And then if it's lying down for 3 hours, you won't get any.
Brett, so that's now linked to a cow. Let's say the number is now 1932. So will I then pick up that ping that comes from 1932?
100%. Yeah. Yes, you friendly name your device. The device to me is a serial number. Every device has a serial number. We have that in the system, married to the device, and in our system, in our database. You have a friendly name that you can name it anything you want. If you take it off one cow and put it on a bull, you can change it from cow number 1, 2, 3 to bull number 6.
You can see all your cows, all the numbers.
100%. You just hover above the thing, it'll come up with the cow, which number it is. Okay? And you can also color code. So your steers could be one color, your heifers could be another color, your bulls could be another color, so you can actually see what's happening in your herd. So it's also a bit of a management tool as well, which we've added that. Farmers asked for that, we've added that. So that's why we get lots of requests, and if everybody wants it, we develop it. And it's all part of the system. We don't now say, okay, well, that's going to cost you more. It's part of your monthly, what you pay. Okay?
Yeah.
How many cattle do you have on the card now?
On which one?
How many cattle collars do you have
Live collars.
in the market?
Probably close to about 4,000. But it's starting to pick up now. You know, we started this as a sideline thing, and I spend my whole day doing this now. I've got 3 other businesses, but they've taken a back seat now because I'm so busy with this. The development, the meeting customers, looking after customers is not that difficult. The first couple of weeks, we spend a lot of time check, tweak here, tweak there, tweak a geofence, and then it goes quiet. And then now and again, I'll get a message, you know, I need another 10 collars, or can you help me with this, or how do I change this? I'm going to put this on a guard now. Can you change it from a cow to a guard? Then I'll change it. Things like that.
Can you, like, those folks who do those dog huntings and things, can you put 10 dogs on these things? You each give them one of these things?
Yeah, absolutely. If your area is covered,
Yeah.
I've got a lot of farmers that put them on their dogs.
Their primary device as they go, or like they sort of tell if they,
Yes.
if they go from one farm to the next farm, can they take the whole system and
100%. Yes. So like you see, I've got here now. That's a portable system. Okay. I don't even need this router. That router is there just for my other stuff, my PC and stuff. That bottom one is a battery. That's a little battery that will last probably about 6 hours. And then the router underneath it, that's a LoRa router. It's got MTN Vodacom in it, and it's sending out LoRa. Okay? You could put that in your car, put it on the roof of your car, or just stick it in your car. It's going to broadcast probably about 2 k's around you. So if your animal is within 2 k's, you're going to find it. Yeah.
those are the packs? can use the system as
100%. Yeah, it's a mobile system. I mean, you just rub it or plug. You can get a cigarette lighter thing, plug it in, and just leave it in your car permanently. Yeah, definitely. So we do have a lot of farmers have their dogs that go wandering. They put them on, and they're amazed at how far these dogs go when they go on holiday and stuff. They're all over the place. Okay, I talked about the warranty, 2-year warranty on the devices. That was 1 year, and the factory have upgraded it to a 2-year without us asking, which shows you how confident they are on the product. And like I said, I've been in the game 4 years with these guys. I've returned one device. They sent to me brand new device, and the battery terminals where the negative positive was a dodgy one that they must have got from their supplier. So I've sent it back. They credited me, and they've sent me another one already. No questions asked. So with devices, if there's an issue with the device, it's just a swap out. There's no issue at all. Profile we've done, batteries we've done, and material we've done. Okay, the collars are made of stainless steel. It's a 6mm, 17 strand by 7. We used to have a much thinner cable. It's now, this cable, you can't cut it with the bolt cutters. The only way to cut this is with a grinder or a hacksaw. And the only way to do that, as you know, is to get an animal into a crush. And most of the time they've got them into crushes, they've rather taken the screws off than trying to cut the cable. They've actually found it, for them, they found it easier to take the screws off. Okay. Now, there are a couple of farmers have said, well, why don't we grind the nuts, grind the nuts so that you can't actually undo them. You could do that. And then when you eventually take the devices off, just cut the bolts off and cut the nuts off and change them. Absolutely, you can do that. But we haven't really had, because we've had tampers on our crushes, we haven't had the need to do that yet. No, that people are coming and saying, oh, we keep losing our cows because they're undoing the collars. They're not. They don't have time. It's dark. They're trying to do it as fast as possible. It's a mission for them. As long as you can't get access to your crush. If they've got your crush, they've got all night to steal. Okay, we are now up to...
if they've stolen the animals, can you send a signal to increase the amount of times that reports?
Very good question. Yeah, very good question. I'm going to show you how we do that now. Yes, that was asked as well. I used to have to do it. I got woken up at 2 in the morning. We were yachting one of them, and I had to do it. There is one downside to that. You've got to wait for the device to talk to mothership first for it to get the attitude change. So in other words, this device has to talk to us. We cue it. We say, right, next time it talks, change to 1 minute interval and make it 10 milliseconds, 10 millig's. In other words, just send. You've got to wait that 10 minutes. If the cow stops and doesn't move for 20 minutes, you've got to wait 20 minutes. Okay, but when they're being stolen, they come. It's 10 minutes. It's bang, 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 bang. But 10 minutes is a long time. They do divert and change direction, and then you're lying there waiting for them, and then they've gone that way. So you can now yourself, we've set it up that the farmers themselves can change the profile on your phone, in your car, your bucky, while you're yachting. It's no problem. It will work. Okay. And then I'm going to tell you, we're going to do something. It's in the pipeline that we want to actually do it automatically when it breaches your geofence. So if it goes out of your geofence, we want to send that payload down. The problem with that is, and this is a very important thing, is these GPS devices are not the GPSs you get on your combines and that. They're not like million rands worth of GPS. They're reasonably cheap GPSs. They are very good. They're within meters, within like a meter. But there are now and again when it's cloudy, bad weather, it's cloudy, you do get a drift, what we call a drift, where it can end up being 4 k's away. But it happens out of 1,000 devices, you might get 10 in every 3 months. Okay, it's not often, but you do get them. Okay, we up when we get the devices from the factory, we up the GPS lookup time. So it comes standard, and we get a few drifts. We by default now we change it to make it more accurate. So we wait longer to get a lock. It does burn a little bit more battery, but not enough to worry about. Okay, because it's more important to not get drifts, because drifts freak you out, especially at 2 in the morning, and the drift is in the direction of where they normally steal them. Then you worry. But what happens is, it's happened a few times. It'll happen to you once, and then you realize, just wait 10 minutes, and then suddenly, boop, it's back where it's supposed to be, and then you know it's a drift. So Normally when there's a theft, there's 5 or 6 collars that are pinging, bang, 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 all in the same direction. You know it's a theft. But obviously in the beginning you do get a bit skittish because you see this thing now not on your farm. You've got a geofence breach and it comes back. So that's the only, I'd say, downside of this GPS type device is that you will get trips from time to time, but not often. Okay, it's an exception, not the rule. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Right, perfect.
Dat ik nou nog gaan werken op een plaats, als je een jacht gaat werk ik in Nederland, dan zie ik een jacht, I come to Nederland.
Okay, so as well as we have, obviously the devices are on your farm, we then create a geofence. Okay, geofences, you guys familiar with Google Earth? You use Google Earth at all? And you just make a KML file or KMZ file. We prefer KML file. You just mark your boundary, give it about 100 meters further than your fence, because what happens is cattle always go to the fence and then it pings over there and then you get an alarm constantly that they're outside your fence, but they're actually not, they're on your fence line. So give it like 100 meters or so around your fence line, okay? We get that, we upload it into the system, and then we allocate the devices into the system. You can have many geofences, so if you've got different farms and you move them from paddock to paddock, then create several, you can create 10 or 20 geofences. We'll allocate all the animals into all the geofences, and what it does is when it leaves a geofence, it'll say cow 27 has left this farm. Cow 27 is now in this farm. Entered and left, entered and left. Okay, so you can have as many geofences as you like. That's the geofence alarm breach. That's why you need the app. You need the app to get the alarm. Okay? The portal's not going to give you the alarm. If you're sitting on your computer, you're not going to get an alarm to say your cow's out of its geofence. You need the phone. The phone is what gives us, the app gives us the push. It's a push notification, it's not an SMS. It's a push notification. So if you've got Wi-Fi, it'll work. So even if you don't have cellular, it'll work, as long as you're on the internet. Okay, that's the beauty of push. Okay, so it'll push, you'll get a notification, you click on it, it'll open up that animal where it is, and you can actually see where it is, and then you can then do footprints of it. You can go back 24 hours, a week, a day, you can go back 2 hours and see where did that animal go in the last 2 hours. It'll give you footprints. Okay, so I'm going to show you all that now in the portal. The other thing that also works well, mostly for sheep and goats, for predators and things, and you can also use them for cattle, not as accurate as a geofence breach, but it does help, it does give you a bit of a warning. It's called a speed alert. So I'll show you, we click a little button to say, and set 10 kilometers an hour. Most cattle, the max they sort of go at is 7 k's an hour when they're just cruising around. When it's 10, 11, 12 k's an hour, that's herding. Okay, so you can set a speed alert so that the cattle are being herded, you're going to get an alarm. Okay, so you've got to get that right. You've got to just tweak it right. It's not an exact science, okay? We've got to make sure that the GPS is on its best behavior to get the right speed. And you'll see, I'm going to show you some devices now. Most of the time it's 0, 0, 0, 0 speed, because they're actually not moving. They're literally just, it's a bang, you know? But sometimes when they are moving, you will get a 5K, 6K, 7K an hour. So I tell our customers to set it to like 11, 12 Ks an hour, and you probably will be okay. You won't get too many false alarms. All right. So those are early warning systems that work well for letting you know that something's up. Then you start looking and then you start following your herd. Before you're rushing out, you can actually see where are they or why are they up against that fence like that. That's not normal. It gives you a bit of an insight without having to run around with torches in the dark. Okay. Right, we can almost shift to the web portal now. All right, so the web portal is on any browser, so it could be your PC, your laptop, it could be on a phone, it could be anywhere. You can have access to this. So let's just take so this is a farm in sort of Canberg area of KZN. This guy was losing 1.3 million cattle, only 3 million rands worth of cattle a year. He would drive 45 minutes to his farm. This farm is a completely remote farm, no farmhouse, just grazing land. And he lives in Winterton, and it's a 45-minute drive. And he would spend most weekends camped in a tent with a torch and a 9mm, and he got shot at by AKs all the time. And he is at the end of his tether, he was about to give up farming. He was just had enough. And I had a presentation like this, and he saw it. He was a bit dubious in the beginning because he didn't think an animal should have a collar around its neck, and he didn't think he would lose them. He then went with us, and it's changed his life. He goes on holiday now. He never goes to that farm anymore. He wakes up and he looks in his bed and he sees where his cows are, and he goes back to sleep, and he's happy as Larry. So this farmer. So you can see there's his camper and his crush. So I'm going to zoom in here. So the internet connection is not the greatest. Normally refreshes quite quickly. I think is it Vodacom here or? No, not very good. Is it more MTN in this area?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just have to bear with me. I'm used to.
Why don't you use the Wi-Fi?
I'm on my Wi-Fi. This is a Vodacom.
No, but there's Wi-Fi here.
Is there Wi-Fi here? Is it much quicker?
Well, I'm on
Okay.
it. Use it
Let's
for-
do that. This one here.
Place in pro.
Got the password. Thank you. Yep.
En dat die boere nou wifi paswoord uit
Ja, kyk, ons doen dit nou in styl. Ja. Nee, maar my laptop is reg. Je bos nou die passwords.
Is it capital V and capital L?
No, the L is much lower.
Small, yeah. And capital SP looks like. S&P is capital.
The last three are.
Yeah.
So it's capital V, is small, it is capital.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes.
He has quite a large herd. He's got about 1,000 head. He has them on 2 separate farms, and he has a 40% live and a 60% dummy. Since he's had them on, the guys know about them, and they haven't hit them. They haven't attempted. He's had a few sort of rumblings where he's quick to get the security company. So the security company goes around here, and he has a collar on the security company, and then he can check where they are, and he says, listen, they're against that fence, they're not normally there, just go and have a look quickly. And then he goes and has a look. So it's gave him a lot of peace of mind, and he's happy to be a farmer again. Right, so that's the all map view on the portal.
Was that live now? Are we live?
Yeah, we're live, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's all map view, and then this is what he's got. These are the devices on one of his farms. So if we take, those all his batteries are flat. So he's going to do a battery change shortly. Right, so here we go. So here's, let's see where this one is. Okay, so that's looking at one device on our portal. Okay, you've now drilled down, so you've gone into his account, all his capital there. You can look on one map and see where his whole herd is, and each of them can have different color codes for cattle or for bulls or cows. You can then go over the device. It'll show you the date and time that it was last seen, okay, which is 5 minutes ago. And then what we can do here is we can do a 24-hour footprint. So this will be done by default without touching it. it'll go and give you 24 hours of where that device has been in the last 24 hours. So this is where it's been. You can then do the last 3 hours, last hour, whatever you want. But by default, it'll just give you the first 24 hours.
So you
last
can,
24 hours.
so like you, that's what you said. The farmer can actually now see their grazing patterns and everything like that as well.
100%. Yeah. So that's why, I mean, originally started as an anti-theft device, but solution. This is, you can get more out of it. It's up to you, you know, what you want to get out of it and how you want to use it.
How long history can you look at? For instance, you want to check for a year long, where did they graze the most? Can you do it?
Yes, good question. So we used to have everything here, okay, everything. And it was just so much data that guys that had like 200, 300 devices were like, oh, so it takes so long. Because it's trying to pull 2 years of history every time he opens a device. And they don't need 2 years of history on the app, he just needs to know where it is now. So we've reduced that now to 10 pages, which is 100 positions. So it could be, depending on how long it is, 100 positions. Let's go back. So this is the 24th of July. We can go back to now, okay? What we're doing is we're adding a more button here, okay? And a more button will then say search. And you could say from 1st of June to the 1st of August. And it'll give you that information, okay? We want to have it on demand, not as a rule. Because as a rule, it just means that every time someone opens the app, it just brings too much data.
Yeah.
And we've got the data, it's there, it's in the back end. You just don't want to give it to you on your app every time you want to look at a cow. It just takes too long. So this is the history of the device. It gives us the GPS coordinates. You can go and say on a specific date and time, you can say, where was it on this date, the 29th at 4 o'clock in the morning, it'll take you to where it was. Okay, that's at the specific time, the device location at that time.
And you want to check the whole group? How do you do that?
Okay, so you want to check the whole group. We go back to his front page, where we've logged in as him. Just going back.
Where did they
So
sleep
this is all his cattle.
Where did they sleep last night?
He's got 242. So this is where we go, and you can see where all the devices are the last time they pinged to us. Okay? This is where they were the last time. They all could be different times that they sent their payload. Some might be an hour ago, some might be 6 hours ago.
But you can see they're all still in their border or your
Yes,
geo.
so his farm, if I log in as him, I'll actually see where his geofence is. Actually, let me see if I can do that. I think I've got his details here.
And then you can change the color of the heifers and
100%. 100%, yeah. So I can go here. Let's take one of these devices, heifer 62. So I can search quickly for 62. So it brings it up quite quickly. There's heifer 62 and CS 62. So heifer 62, I'm going to that device quickly. My internet was faster, much quicker. Okay, so now I can go to that device. This is where I can change the name, heifer 62. I can change it to whatever I want to change it to. And the device category is left as default, which is a red beacon. I can change this to a cow, a vehicle, a motorbike, an elephant, a bull, or whatever I want to do. Okay? So I can change that one to yellow, that's a sheep. So let's change it to yellow.
Imagine he gets a pig now. The sheep is the car changed to a sheep. Something wrong with the road.
Let's go into there. Should be showing up there now. There it is.
Oh, yeah,
It's popping up. There it is. Okay. And then we've got that blue one. That's his temper. So we set temper as blue. You can make them any color you want. We've just created a whole lot of names with colors. And you can call your cow whatever the hell you like to call your cow, just to change the color. Okay. I'm going to change it back.
Just change it back, yeah.
Why is my cow change color? Okay, so that's when you do your friendly name of the device. That's the type of device, so don't worry about that. You won't be able to change that because I'm in the admin section. And this is where you can set the device activity alert. So this is where I said to you, when you take a device that's a tracker, small or big, doesn't matter, you can change it into a tamper. And the only thing to do is changing the temper is every time this thing sends a payload, we get an alarm. Okay, that's making it a temper. And then what we also do to make it a temper, there's no point having it at 300 by 300 because you're going to need to like shake the solar panel to get it to send. We want to set it to like 10 milliseconds, 10 millig's. It's going to literally, it's going to go off really, really easy. So I'm going to show you how to do that now as well. So that's when you click send activity alert. It will give you that alarm on your phone. Okay? And then this is your send speed alert whenever over 10 k's an hour, 11 k's an hour, whatever you want to set it to. It will send if it gets more than that. And this is where you'll see a little bit of history. Here we go, 1k an hour, 0, 1, 2. So there's not, most of the time it's 0, but you do get days and times when you will get a high. Let's have a look if there's anything high here. See, so it's very seldom you'll get a high number, but when they heard it, it will definitely give you over 10 k's an hour. Okay. So this here is your speed. This is your battery voltage. So this battery is nearly time. You can see he's lost quite a lot of devices already gone. This farmer's got a little bit slack because he hasn't been hit, he hasn't been touched. So every now and again I give him a little rev and I say, hey, don't cry to me. If they come, you need to change your batteries. So then and I also do that as a service for them. A lot of my clients, they have lots of devices, so it's a big job for them. So what we do is we send a courier, they send it to us, we take them apart, clean them, make sure when you put the seal back, because they get really dirty, we put new batteries, we seal them, and we send them back. We just literally charge for the batteries, that's it. We don't charge a service fee for that. But at least we know that the seal's been done properly. Because if he gives it to his worker to do and the guy doesn't care, you're going to have a piece of grass sticking in the rubber seal, and then you're going to have water ingress, and then your device is bugged. Okay. This is your signal strength. There's 100 dBm, 96. This is really, really good. Anything under 100 is great. Neg 100 is great. When you start getting to 117, 118, it's starting to get out of signal. But you'll notice here he jumps between a few different towers here. That Moy River 3 is near him, and there he's jumped to a car kloof, which is quite far away, but you see it's neg 116. So the car kloof is quite far distance from where this farm is. It's probably a good 50, 60 k's away. Okay. It just happened to be a perfect scenario. The cow was in a perfect angle, and it picked up. We don't care which tower it connects to. If it connects to a tower, it's coming back to us. And once we get the data, we can then do all the back-end stuff and then help send whatever we need to send to you. Okay, so that's down to the device itself. So you can you get a battery voltage right in the front as you open it up, last speed detected, and then you get your signal good, and then where the device is. This is what we spoke about earlier, is the downlink. So if you want to send a downlink to a device, to change it from a tracking device to a tamper device, or send it back to the default, you click on here, and we have 4 selections. The top selection is a rugged mini, which is the small little device. We call it the mini. That is a default. Will be 10 minutes sending every 10 minutes at 63 millig's by 80 milliseconds. That's the standard that comes from the factory. It's like a vehicle tracker. So it's a default. Okay. That's the default. The next one is recovery, tamper guard. So we call it a recovery, meaning we want it to send every minute, 30-second timeout, send every minute, 10 millig's, 10 milliseconds, just send. Okay. And the same with the guard, and the same with the tamper. Okay. So we've given you those two options to do yourself. But if you want something else done to the device, in other words, I want it set specifically like this, that's when you notify me, and I will then set your device exactly how you want it for you. Okay, it's part of our service.
So is that the fast mower currently?
That's me.
Australia.
That's me. He took my name, he's younger than me. Okay, so you've got the rugged default, that's the big one, and the same story there. So we haven't given you too much to worry about. You know you've got a big one, or you've got the small one. Send the payload, and then it'll update itself. Okay. Okay, what else are we going to do here? This is Okay, so that's the portal. Speed alerts done. Next is okay. So as you know, we've got an Android and iOS app developed. You get similar features as you do on the portal, but the portal's probably more features. So if you're going to send payloads down, we don't have that on the app. You do it via the portal. So it doesn't matter, you don't have to be at your computer. You can just pick up your web browser. And the best way is just put a little shortcut on your desktop next to your app. And just click on it, it'll open, save your password and log in. You're in, find the device, click on the down link, send. While you're driving, you could pretty much do it. It will update the device the next time it moves. And then you could change it back to default again, or if you want it back to a car setting, you just say to me, Brett, I changed this thing to a recovery mode, it's fine, I've got it, can you send it back to normal car mode? And I just quickly send a payload to it. Literally takes me 5 minutes. Okay. So obviously the device is a bit hard to show all of you now, but what we can do is we can get a couple of logins. You can log into an app and have a look at my app and see all my devices and so on. The Android and the iOS app, just so you understand, one person can be logged in to the app, Android or iOS, at a time. So you have one master account, which is where all the cattle are in that account, under that profile. And if you give that login to someone else and they log in, you're going to be logged out, and they will take control of that app. Okay? As many people as you like can log into the portal. You can have the security company can log in with your username and password. You can give it to your manager. They can all log in and view and use the app, the web app. Does that all make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. The Android and iOS app, only one person can be logged in. All right. If you want to share notifications, then your manager or whoever it is must log in their own account. They must just sign up. It's free. Register an account. Download the app. Register, and then you can share the notifications with that person. Okay. And I've got a presentation that I can leave with you guys. You can actually see exactly how that works with the app. Because I think it's going to be quite difficult to show you all the app from this distance. Okay. Are there any questions so far? Before I move on to other stuff. Is it predominantly account tracking that you guys are interested in finding out about? Or are there other problems that you guys are having that I can perhaps find a solutions for you?
We don't have wife tracking problems.
You don't have?
Wife tracking.
I haven't got a magnetic one. You can just stick it up. That one's got a SIM card in it, so it works countrywide.
Yeah, we need to get wire first.
Talking about countrywide, okay, there is another device that doesn't use the LoRa network. It's the same device as these devices, okay? This was used on a horse in Pretoria. This is what we call an NB-IoT network. So you've got LoRa, you've got Sigfox, okay, then you have Vodacom and MTN, okay? Now, Vodacom have set up an NB-IoT network, so it's narrowband. NB stands for narrowband. In other words, 868, or very low frequency, not like your 5G, which is 5 gigahertz. Okay? This device will work pretty much countrywide. They must have, I think, 8,000 or 9,000 towers, Vodacom towers that are enabled with NB-IoT. Okay? So this is the same device, works with our app and everything. So if you say to me, I've got a vehicle that's driving countrywide, I won't give you this one on the LoRa network, I'll give you this one. Okay, it works it's the same. I mean, you won't know the difference. You'll still click on and it'll be there. Okay, it's just that this one, battery life doesn't last as long. It has got a SIM card in it, but it's not as bad as a normal SIM card tracker that you have in your car. That one has to be wired into your car permanently off the battery. If you take one of those temporary trackers that you buy from China, they're going to last you maybe like 3 weeks. You put it in your car, it lasts 3 weeks and it dies. This will last probably between 6 months and 3 years, depending on how many positions you have. So what we use these for is on trucks and things as a backup hidden tracker. No one else knows about it. They hide them in trucks, trailers. We recovered 1.3 million worth of stock the other day. They hijacked the truck. They jammed the truck. They took the trackers out the truck. They didn't know about this. This was under the chassis of the back, right at the back of the truck. So what they did is they then offloaded 36 pallets of stock into a warehouse, into a self-storage warehouse. They realized they'd started taking all the trackers out. They turned the jammer off. The minute they turned the jammer off, this thing said, "How's it?" And it gave them position of where the truck was. They dumped the truck. Then my customer went on and saw, hey, the first time it pinged was in this location. They went there and they saw the self-storage and then looked through the windows and there was all their stock inside the self-storage unit. And they found TVs, 8 other trucks had been stolen, hijacked, and they had all the information, all the invoices and everything within the truck, with the stock. So they found all the other companies and they recovered all that stock. So these are great for hidden backup trackers that works countrywide. Okay, wherever the NB IOT Vodacom network is, there's a map. You can look at a map, it'll show you where the coverage is. It's not great for having it on a farm, or having it for cattle, okay? Expensive, battery doesn't last long, and if you're on a farm and you've got 50 trackers, you want to be using the LoRa network. It's the best network. It's the cheapest way of doing it. There's no SIM cards. Okay, so that's to answer your question. You can track spouses and whoever else you want to track.
Can I ask you, is it possible, if you've got the boundary of the farm,
Yes.
and if anybody enters that boundary with a cell phone or whatever, is it possible to track that person immediately?
No. So our geofence, our boundary, is only looking for these. When this tracker comes into the geofence,
Is there a system which might provision for such a...
So the next thing I'm going to show you, I think it's coming. I think it is going to be coming. Okay. When I get onto this little box here, I believe that's going to happen because it's going to pick up Bluetooth. That's Bluetooth. So it'll use Bluetooth to pick up. Okay. So that device there, we can use it for, these are the little tags. I'll hand these around so you can see them. These tags talk to this little box. And that box, Bluetooth, is about 100 meters externally and about 30 meters inside buildings. Okay, so this tag is it measures, it counts, it says I'm here, it picks up, and it also measures temperature. Okay, and it measures temperature every second. You can turn that down and make it every 5 seconds or every minute, and it measures all the time. This device here will just tell you that it's in the building. So what you can use this for is for like stock. If you've got expensive stock, you can stash this on your stock. If the stock leaves the building and it gets away from that, it'll alarm you and say it's left the building. What you can do with these, we've potted them because we want to put them into animals, into cows. We're going to put them in under the skin to count them. So you can then, I'll just give you a couple of these to see what they look like. So these are just for counting. These are 250 Rand a pop. They last about 10 years actually. And what that device does is it sends out, we can turn it down, but it sends out normally, it can send out like 5 times a second, but then your battery's going to last you maybe a year. So we turn it down and we say send every minute, and then we'll get 10 years out of it. So that will send out, this device will pick that up. Okay? And this is what it looks like.
How far, what's the reaching distance?
100 meters outside. Inside a building, probably 30, 40 meters. Because obviously Bluetooth gets distracted quite a bit. You know, Bluetooth, like if you put your watch underwater, you know, your phone disconnects from your watch because the Bluetooth is not communicating. So if you stick that in a glass of water, it'll be fine, but it will probably lose the signal because the water distracts it. Okay, so I'll show you that one. So the temperature gauge is the bigger one. So one gives temperature, and one gives temperature and a ping. It just basically it advertises, it says I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. So it's great for stock, for counting. What we could do is take this device, put it in a backpack, ride on a motorbike, on a horse, into a herd. It'll count. That's what we're busy programming the solution now, because we've been asked for it. It'll count all the animals. As long as you're within 100 meters of that animal, it will pick up you can come back, you don't even need a Wi-Fi, you can come back to the office, it'll connect to the Wi-Fi straight away, it'll send that file to us, we will then take that file and then we'll send you a report. Say, at 4 o'clock, they did a stock take, this is how many animals were here, this one's missing. Okay. So that's what we've been asked to do because counting is a big problem.
You know what, this list system, the new list system, where all the animals has to be on the system national. This thing is going to work like hell, but I don't think the other people will take it, you know, the black guys. But the law has been written that every cow must be on the system and be controlled, like in Namibia and in Botswana. And that law is effective, I think, as from 1 year. Let's tell so. I think last year already.
Yeah, more.
I know they've got a system, it's got like a wand, and then the animal comes past and then you
That's the
no.
RFIDs.
the RFID, you've got to be
Yeah.
very close.
Yeah,
with
but
the
that,
animal.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've got devices that when the animal walks through, picks them
Picks it up.
It has to be in a crush or something.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this system, we've designed it for, what we found is one or two of the systems only pick up a dairy cow once a day. And a dairy cow, as you know, comes twice a day. But what happens if it gets left out and doesn't come in? Then they've lost that 15 litres of milk or whatever it is. Okay, so this will tell you that yes, it came. It was at the dairy twice, morning and night. So that's the kind of thing that we're going to use that for. And then we've potted it so we put it under the skin to test and see how much signal will it lose by going under the skin. That's what we've got to test still. And then how close must it be to the gateway. So this is the gateway here. So this gateway also has, the new model also has the LoRa inside it. So you could have this gateway with LoRa at your farm.
You can take it in your bucket and you can go to the area and just drive around to see if all the cattle are there.
100%. As long as your cattle have got that. Now you don't have to stick that under the skin, you could probably put it on so it's existing ear tag. As long as you come close to this.
There's another system in Australia, it's called movement.
Movement, yeah.
Yeah,
They've got a tracking thing with a solar panel.
What's the difference between theirs and yours?
You only get, I think it's 4 positions a day on movement. Up to 4 or 8 positions a day. Which, I think it's 1 an hour. 1 an hour, I think it's 12 a day. So 1 an hour is fine for just management. So where movement came from was Australia. They don't have two-legged friends that steal cows in Australia. It's kind of, it's more vast, and they're trying to get them. Where are they? They're going to go and herd them with helicopters and stuff. They've got such vast terrain there. So they use that to see where the animals are, and once an hour. And if the animals fall in a ditch, every hour they get the same location. Okay, cool. There's a problem with the animal. So that's what that's used for. For anti-theft, it's too long. An hour is too long. Imagine you're trying to track an animal an hour, you're going to pull your hair out. So it's a different application altogether.
And the temperature, when you implant it, will it take the temperature of the animal or the temperature of the environment?
No, if it's inside, it'll take the temperature of the animal, but if it's obviously outside, it's going to take the ambient temperature, which is useless.
So in theory, you can see which is the animals that is sick.
Correct. That's where we're going with this. But we need to make sure that vets are okay with it and it's okay to do. I've got a few farmers in Bergville area that are keen to do that, to try it. And they saw the size of it and said, this is not a problem, we can put this in, because I was worried about the size. And they said, no, there's a lot of skin that you can put it in. But yeah, we haven't done it yet, but what we're predominantly doing with this is for counting, because I've got so many farmers that are desperate for us to give them a counting solution. The counting is just not working for them. They're getting their staff to count, and the staff says, yes, boss, it's there. They're all the same, and then they do their own stock take at month end, and there's 12 animals missing. And it's too late then.
Yeah.
It's gone. So that's how. So here's the devices here. It uses our same app. So these are the indoor tags, okay, and it shows you where it last spoke, which is literally a couple of minutes ago. And then this is the outdoor one, which is the temperature tag. We call it the outdoor, and the temperature tag was in my wine fridge in Cape Town. I took it out to bring it here. And why it's taking so long to load? Oh, come on, there we go. Okay, so it's 23 degrees at the moment.
Not here.
Where is it?
So it's in someone's hand. It's warm. Someone's got it in their hand. The grey one, the grey one. Where's the grey one?
I'm sure the guy won't steal it because you can track it.
There it is. It was 37 just now. It was sitting at this thing was blowing here, so it's quite hot. I'm going to put it here. You'll see how hot it gets now. Yeah. It'll jump up. It measures every minute. Okay. There's the battery. This thing's probably about 6 months old. It's still sitting at 100%. There the signal, you see it's neg 38. I mean, it's right next to the device. Okay. And this is how we're also going to track certain things. It tells us that it's 10 meters. Okay, it's within 10 meters of the device. If I take this device now and I go and put it in the room, it'll change. It'll go to like 20, 30, 40 meters because it's looking at this. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm just going to take it on this side and just leave it here for a bit. And it should change positions.
10 meters, but that's next to it. How can it be 10 meters?
No, but in
We've
between.
set parameters, so we've set from this signal strength to that signal strength, it's 10 meters. Because it's a thumb suck, because it could be behind a wall, it could be have stuff in the way. It's not an exact.
Yeah.
No, it's not an exact.
I thought it's this one. I'm looking it up. It doesn't show there.
Yeah, so that one's just broadcasts. Okay, so that thing can do two things. It can broadcast, or we can set it into tamper mode. Okay, so all you do is you take a magnet, you hold it over there, light flickers, and then you, on your phone, you change it to 1G. Literally, you do that alarm. So you could put one of those in your house. You could have one of those on every window and every door, or on your gun safe, or wherever. They should not be moving. Okay? It will sit quiet and not move until that thing moves. It will send an alarm. Okay? So we kind of started with counting, and then someone said, shit, can we use it for security? And now we can use it for security. So I'm telling you what the stuff is out there. You guys will think of where it can maybe help you. Okay? And if you've got any other ideas, please tell us so that we can then start developing towards that. Because we're looking for stuff to do. We're looking for stuff to improve all the time.
Say having a product like this, say in your compound area, you've just got a couple of warehouses plus housing and all of that. So with a feedlot and stuff, my house is probably about 3 k's away from the feedlot. Setting a bunch of these things up within a perimeter around that compound area, would one be able to link to a different one, or does one only register to one device?
No. So what we could do is, what we use them for, like in hospitals, so like defibrillators and expensive equipment, we put those white tags on them, and then we put one of these in every room, or say a hotel room, we put one in every hotel room, and then we stick those inside the remotes. You know how many remotes get stolen out of hotel rooms? So the minute it leaves, it'll send an alarm. You can have an audible alarm, you can plug in a siren there, or you can have an alarm someone on the phone, so when the manager says, hey, excuse me, you've just taken the remote out of the room, can you give it back? So we could do that with it. It will also tell you what room the device is in. So if you've got, so like you're saying, if you're putting one of these around, you put about 20 of them around a kraal, it'll tell you it's here. It'll tell you where the animal is in relation to the kraal, because it'll say, tell me where is this tag now? I only want to know the closest tag. It'll say, right, it's picking up to Brett's IOT Global demo box because it's 10 meters away. The signal strength is minus 38. Okay? Just refresh this. So we can tell you which room something is in. So if you put it around a fence line, you can tell it roughly where it is to that fence line. Okay? Or we could say, if an animal comes near a fence line and gets picked up by this device, send an alert, because they shouldn't be near the fence. Something like that. It's however you want to write the back end.
A simple thing in a feedlot, I'm just thinking, if you put a few trackers on in a feedlot and 100 animals that is in a pen, you can see when there's no water because all the animals will congregate towards the water trough, or you can see when there was no food in the trough because the animals will congregate closer to the feeding trough.
Exactly. Excellent.
And you can just put parameters on it. If more than 30% of the animals is at the water, you know there's a water issue.
Yeah, 100%. We could use it for that. Or we could use another device that we have that has a water detect. Okay? And it tells us where this water is. Same LoRa, it's a LoRa device. You put it into a trough. If it's covered with water, don't send an alarm. The minute the water's gone and there's no water, send an alarm. So it'll actually tell you that the trough has got no water in it with the LoRa network, and it can be in the middle of the bush because the LoRa will connect kilometers. Bluetooth, it's got to be close by. Okay, that's the difference between this technology. So you notice now it's gone to 40 meters.
Yeah.
So the tag showing 40 meters, and the reason I said 40 meters is because it's negative 57 dBm. If we took it and stuck it outside the door, it'll say 80 meters, because it would drop to probably like 80 dBm. Okay. Temperature's dropping now, it's cold over there, because it was warm here with this little machine. So that thing is spot on. I've got a temperature gauge on my fridge, and that thing is like exact. It's really good. Okay, so that's and then it gives you a graph as well, so you can see how the temperature is being over a period. Where we use this now is your serums that you give the animals, your medicine. So we had a farmer in Harrismith. She lost 35,000 rands worth of medicine because the electricity tripped, and her fridge is in like a shed that no one goes to. So she lost 35 grams worth of medicine. It's not, she said, but it's not the money, it's to get the medicine. It's all important. So she couldn't get any medicine, and she had to inoculate. So now she has one of these in her fridge. Yeah, let's see where your temperature is. Yeah.
You see now, in the mood.
Die hondstelsel is daar. Ja.
Al die corporaties, al die ijskasten.
Dit moet allemaal op die hondstelsel.
Just showing you this client is the one in Harrismith. So they've got like 6 or 7 different farms, and then also different herds, and that's where you can see they're using the colors quite nicely here. Some are gourds, some are steers, heifers, and bulls. This solution's changed their lives. They tried all the other stuff. She was also very reluctant to try me, because she said, but I've tried everything, tried all these stuff, and it's working for her. Their theft is completely stopped, and the manager who runs the farm is like loving this, because you can see where his guards are, and you can see where the animals are. And the other day, on one of the remote farms, the animal actually broke the fence and were running away, and they phoned the guard and said, hey, you've let the cows out. And the guard's like, hey, how did you know that? Because they're so far away from the farm. So he's like, thinks now that they're like some woman, because how the hell do they know? Freak them out a bit. So this is Pam's gateway. See if it's on. Should be on. There we go. So she's had this in her fridge 1. They do a lot of apples and stuff, so she makes juice and things. So she's going to be moving it into a juice, because if the juice goes off, they throw it away. So this is here where you see where they've opened the fridge. Temperature's changed. And it also gives you a location. We hardwire the pin location of it, so if it happens to be something that's stagnant, we can put a location of where it is and it will go there, or it will use the gateway's location. All the gateways have a GPS location in them, so I can then tell you where it is in relation to the gateway. So it doesn't have a GPS chip in it, but at least you can give it some sort of intelligence to say, I'm here, or here. Okay. There's a history of the signal RSI strength. So this is quite close to her gateway, just probably in the same room. Okay, so with the network, with the LoRa network, you can do the water system, measuring water, presence of water or no water. We also have distance sensors as well. So on a silo, on grain or feed, you can have a little sensor that's firing down and measuring, and it goes. It's as close as to, I think it's 1 millimeter. It's up to 1 millimeter. So you can have that device, and it's also about 4 years battery, and it will talk to the LoRa network. So you don't have to plug it into anything, wire it into anything, no SIM cards. It'll literally talk to our network. And then we're going to have that integrated into here. We haven't had a big call for it, but it is available. Okay, it's a product that everybody uses for JoJo tanks, for water, for feed, milk. A lot of guys, they steal milk. As they take the milk, before the truck comes, they hook a whole lot of milk. So we measure every 20 minutes, and we'll pick up when milk's been stolen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Diesel.
Yeah. Diesel's a bit of an issue because electronics around fuel, it's a big no-no. No one likes to do it. But what we do with fuel is stick one of these or one of those white tags, because your diesel tank is near your shed or near your tractor, or your tractor is near your shed or where this is. put that, have that, one of those white tags, or one of these, on the cap, and have it in tamper mode. The minute they take the cap off, it'll trigger. And then we're going to set the time that device sends an alarm between 6 and 6 or whatever time. You're going to set it. You're going to say, well, the tractor's driving around all day, so we don't want to be alarmed all day, but it's parked from 6 at night till 4 in the morning. Set the alarm. So it stays in alarm mode. If that thing moves, someone's touched it. Alarm. Okay.
That little white tracker, the one account, how much, you see it costs 200 Rand,
$250 once off.
and there's no monthly or annual
There
fee?
is a monthly. So how we work with this, it's 300. Those are 2,500 Rand. Just the Bluetooth gateway.
Mhm.
That will connect to hundreds of devices. Okay, you can label the devices, name them as well, and it's 350 Rand a month monitoring up to 10 devices, and then 10 Rand for every device thereafter. So it's a 10 Rand a month monitoring fee. If you put a SIM card into anything, it's $10, just a SIM card. Then you've got to have data on the SIM card, whereas this doesn't need all that. We take care of all that.
So this white box is 2,500, and the collar you said is?
Okay, so that the box is for Bluetooth, okay, it's not the gateway. So the gateway is a separate thing. The collar, the LoRa gateway, I'm going to send you the whole price list, you'll have everything.
No, because I can't read English. So if I've got 200 cows, you
Yeah.
said I've got to put up 40% now.
You can go as low as 30%, guys do go as 30%.
Okay, so 60 times, what's the collar costing you?
I have to look at the price list because it changes.
Can we check it on the internet?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Roughly, what is it going to
Yeah,
cost?
okay, you'll get it, yeah, you'll get it. One of these devices, always when you do demos, you wonder if it's always going to work, but this is a panic device using our LoRa network. So you push that panic device, should work. There you go. Okay, so now that can be sent to 20 people's phones. You set this to who you want to share it with. Okay, so we use these in old age homes and things like that. Doesn't have GPS on it, but it will pick up the closest gateway to it. Okay, so if it's at your home, we can tell it that it's at your home and put a GPS location. So you could have this as a panic button next to your bed or at your door, and then it will send an alarm to whoever you want to send an alarm to, security or loved one, family member, and you know where it is, and they can come and help. This doesn't get jammed. So they use cell phone jammers to jam cell phones. You can't jam this. Jamming jams an inward signal, not an outward signal. So GPS trackers don't work because the GPS signal coming from the GPS satellite can't get to the device. Okay, but my device keeps sending. It still keeps sending, but it will send no GPS location or old GPS location. But we don't care. We're not getting GPS location. We just want to make sure that this thing sends an alarm. Okay, so these are good for. You could have them on your guards as well if they're in trouble. You could have a tracker on them, and you could have this as and it comes with a lanyard. You can have it on their neck. If their phone doesn't work, their phone gets stolen or hijacked, they can push the button, and they're going to get notified, and you can kind of see where they are or help them know that there's a problem.
What name must be used for on the internet?
Sorry.
What name on the internet?
Oh, it's IOT Global.
Say?
IOT Global. IOT, Internet of Things. IOT Global. .co.za.
Brett, you said if you got any ideas, it might be following on what Johannes actually said. I think it's more poachers to do. I don't know if you were asking about cell phones. We also have guys sneaking in with their cell phones and coming into our geo area. So maybe one thing you can do, because we got areas where we actually notice that poachers climb through the fence or stuff.
Okay.
Maybe a suggestion would be motion detection on those Bluetooth or whatever you've got.
Yes.
I'm just putting it out there because
it will work.
that would help us a lot because
Yes.
we know where they're climbing through, but we don't know when, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, what
Okay.
time in the evening. So if we can pin them in a certain area, it can send that push notification
Yes.
and actually then tell us, okay, they actually breached an area. Now we can have a look. I don't know if you've got something like that,
Yes.
but that's what if I'm looking at our farm because we got game and cattle. So
Yeah.
then I would look at that.
Yeah. So that device there picks up Bluetooth what they call advertising. It's a Bluetooth. They call it it's a broadcast. Well done, thank you. It sends a broadcast all the time. Your phone's constantly sending a Bluetooth broadcast. Every device has Bluetooth in it. It's sending all the time. That device will pick it up. So when it's in the bush and there should be nothing near it, it's going to be quiet. And the minute we'll set that thing, the minute there's any Bluetooth along, it will work.
So you're talking about motion detection? Or
No, it'll pick up the guy's cell phone.
Oh, so.
If
Yeah, but they normally have Bluetooth on.
But for these guys that have these old little Nokia brick phones,
I'm sure there's still got Bluetooth. You used to be able to connect to your car.
not those old Nokias.
For the old ones.
That thing
I
that
guess
looks
it's
like a
like
brick.
100 phones, you know.
Yeah, maybe. I'll look into it. It's a good project for me. I'll look into that.
Because
There's
it
gotta
would
be
be
a way.
nice, it's like a motion detection type of vibe going,
Yeah.
you know, if you can have, let's say I put one there and one there, it kind of sends a signal, so if there's anything moving. I know you get alarms like that,
Yeah,
but now you're going a little bit farther with that, because they can see the beams.
yeah.
That's the other thing. If you've got something like that, it can broadcast an area or whatever, and you know something going through that area, it gives you a notification.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm
That
gonna look into it. It's the first time I've heard of this problem. There's got to be a way.
Because to put it around we need to put 22 kilometers of like electric fence around we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
to
yeah.
keep the poachers out.
Yes,
Not
if
just
you know them, you could put a couple of these segmented.
we know
in a
they climb
section
through because
and
there's
catch them.
areas where these two-legged
Yeah.
guys are. You know, it's,
Well, they only need to be like 100 meters apart because this will pick up 100 meters on Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So you could put let's say it's a 500 meter stretch. You could put 5 of those.
It's going to be
And you
cheaper
cover
to
the
put
section.
electricity. These
Okay, so
are-
that's a panic. There are other devices, guys. There's like so many LoRa devices, and that's the beauty of if you put a LoRa network up and you're doing for tracking. Someone want to track, someone want to measure water, someone want to measure other things. It's endless what you can do with the LoRa network. So that's one of the things, and it's something that I've been asked for by many farmers, and we found it. We've just integrated it. And it's this. We call it a switch device. So we've got it here. I can do it on my portal as well. It's integrated into the app. And I know everyone has problems switching on pumps, pivots, and things from a distance. You have cell phone type devices,
Yeah.
but the problem when there's load shedding or problem when there's no signal, it's an issue. So we've got this device that works over LoRa, so the same network that we're using for the tracking. I've wired it into this light. At the moment it shows you that it's off, okay? We can turn this light on using the LoRa network. So no cellular, it's purely LoRa. So we haven't tested how far from a gateway, because all our gateway, where we live, it's like we've got LoRa everywhere. But I need to test this sort of on a farm, sort of 5-6 k's away from a gateway. What the nice thing about this is it gives you feedback and tells you that it's switched on. So you can be lying in your bed after load shedding. Most farmers have to get up, drive, and physically go and turn on a pivot. Otherwise they don't water that day, okay? And they've got 9 pivots and their farms are 20 k's apart from each other. They begged us to find something, and this is what we found, and it works. So you can use, it gives you also a history of when it was on and when it was off, okay? And we can also set schedules for it. So you don't even have to wake up at 3 after load shedding finishes at 2. You can actually set it for 2:30 for it to turn on a pivot. Okay, and then you can wake up and see that the pivot actually did turn on because there's history of it. Is that something you guys could use?
yeah.
Huh? Okay.
What happens if it goes on and there is load shedding? Will it still show to you that it's on?
Yeah, it'll be its last state. It will say that it's on, but you know it's load shedding, so you know the pivot's not moving, it's not working. But what it will do is this device automatically, I'll just turn this light off, it's blinding everybody here. I can also do it on my app. Okay, and then it'll update every 5 seconds. But what this device does is, the longest we've ever waited for it to talk back to us is 1 hour and 5 minutes. So we set it to 1 hour 20. If it doesn't talk to us within 1 hour 20, say it's offline. So you'll see here, it shows me online. Okay? If I turn this device off and unplug it, take it away from power, after 1 hour and 20 minutes, this will turn red and say offline. Then I know there's absolutely no power to this device, and there hasn't been for over 1 hour and 20 minutes. Does that answer your question? Okay. So we try to think of everything, but we don't know what your applications are. But we know that a pivot story, that's the problem. There's a pivot story, and we found a solution for pivots. It might work for pool pumps. Pool pumps is easy because you can use wireless. Your Wi-Fi in your house can turn your pool pump on. Those have been around for years. This, you can turn on a pump that's 5 k's away from your farm that has no cellular signal in the area. This will work because we have LoRa, and LoRa can travel those 5 k's very easily, like with a small antenna, literally. Okay, so that is the that's what we call the switch device. We also have.
Oh, sorry, what's the price roundabout of that?
$3,000 for the Swiss device. It's imported. It's from Italy. It's very good quality product. We try and buy decent product. I don't like to buy from China if I can help it. We get Europeans create good stuff, but it is expensive, but it's quality and it's very good support and it works and lasts. So that's why we go to Europe once a year and we look for the best products. And we found that last year at our show. We're going again in September. We'll find some more stuff. That's why if you let us know what you need, what's missing. I mean, I'm sure you all have weather stations and things on your farms. You have weather stations? Mm-hmm. Not really. You need them.
Farmers probably do.
Do you need them? Mm-hmm. Not really. You're managing without. Okay. So like Europe, it's massive. Weather stations. Every farmer has weather stations. And they've got this thing that talks to LoRa and area, it measures the water, the soil content, the moisture content, leaf wetness, all the stuff it measures. So that's why we look for stuff all the time. If you've got other things, other problems, we try and find solutions to them. So as far as the other products we've got, tracking is the most obviously that we have. We have passive infrareds as well. This works on a Sigfox network. That's a little device with a little passive infrared. You can stick it in a shed or stick it somewhere. As long as the Sigfox signal, you can set it between a certain time and a certain date and time, and we use them in cash offices for like spa and places like that. So it will pick up movement, and you say between 6 at night, 6 in the morning, there should be nobody in there. The minute there's movement, it will send an alert to you. Okay, so that's a Sigfox one. We're trying to find a similar device in LoRa, and then we've got it covered. We've got these devices that do work, but we're not pushing the Sigfox network anymore. It's just not feasible for us. Panics. So you've seen the panic alarm. There is also a Sigfox panic, but that works with Sigfox, which is a bit unreliable for me. But that one gives you GPS location. So if you're in the veld or you've fallen off your motorbike and you're lying there and you can't move, you can push that button, it'll send an alarm and it'll give you the location that you're in. But you've got to have Sigfox coverage. And I can't control that. I can control LoRa because I can put up gateways all over the place, and so that you'll be covered. Okay, so we are trying to get a GPS location tracker next. So we'll be able to, if someone's walking around and they need it, you can at least pinpoint them when they're in trouble. Okay. Any other questions so far?
There's another company called Farm Ranger. They were here last year.
Yeah.
What's the difference between yours and theirs?
Okay, big difference. The major difference is that's a cellular product. So I do replace, a lot of farmers have them and then they're not happy with them and then they switch to our solution and they're much happier with our solution. It's not that their solution is bad, it's using an old type technology, and our technology is in South Africa, as you know, our cellular network is in trouble because of load shedding and power and stolen batteries. So that works great in Europe because their cell phone towers are everywhere and they work and they don't have load shedding and they don't have stolen batteries. So it works well. So with that device, it's like a cell phone. It's got a SIM card in it and it picks up motion and it will send at a certain motion. So it'll give you early warning. It's the same as our speed alert. It'll give you early warning. So a lot of them use them for sheep, but you've got to charge that. It's like a USB rechargeable device. I think it's every 6 weeks you've got to recharge it, depending on the amount of motion and movement. So it's very different to what we offer. I'm never going to bash that product because it's been around for a long time and it has helped farmers. But I have a lot of farmers that have switched from that to us and much happier.
But the
Because it is
reason,
different.
the reason for that is the cell phone connection, or what is the main reason?
Battery. So putting it on a sheep's no problem. Putting it on a cow, every 6 weeks you're going to change,
No,
take
I
it off
think
and change the battery.
my neighbour's got it, and I think it's about 6 months, they say.
They get 6 months out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, but you still, you want to change your battery every 6 months on a cow. That's, I know my farmers don't. They're like, they look at me when it's more, if it's less than a year, they're like, must be a year and a half, minimum. And that's what we're striving to. I can give you, if you just take, it's a simple calculation. If I'm getting 20,000 positions out of a set of batteries, a fresh set of batteries, and if I say I want to get in the evening, from 6 at night till 6 in the morning, if I'm going to get 40 positions, okay? I divide that by 40, that's going to give me 500 days. So that's like a year and a half at 40 positions a night. 40 positions a night is you get to know where your animals are. That's a lot of data. You know, whereas I don't know if Farm Ranger will give you that. I don't know. I've seen it on a website and I've spoken to
See,
people.
the same layout that you've got with the pins where the cows are.
Yeah, I think it
They've
does.
got it as well. So you can
Yeah.
see where your cows are, where they're moving, and when they're
sure.
getting up and so on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many pins they send per hour or per minute. I'm not sure, but I mean you don't need more than say 3 or 4. You don't need many positions in a normal day.
Correct. So I've got a competitor of ours that use the same device. We actually help each other. They set theirs to 500 by 500 milligauss, 500 milliseconds. So they're probably only getting like 12 positions a night. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's fine, but what my worry is if someone walks that cow very slowly and you don't get those locations before you do, it's like that's my worry. And at the end of the day, what I've found with this business is that when you get, like, this is a new area now. So you've got to kind of say, guys, forget about batteries. Let's burn batteries. Let's drive these guys out of the,
load shedding.
Well, I'll get battery back up. I should still keep working. Let's drive the guys out. Let's stop them from stealing. If you burn batteries for a year, okay, so you have to change your batteries after the first year. After that, we can tone those collars right down. My farmers that have been in the area we've driven them out, the batteries are flat for months. They don't even care. They're like, nah, they won't come here now anymore. So it's kind of like they're getting a bit cocky because they've chased them away. And when the thieves come and they see those collars, they go, and they go somewhere else. Then they go to the next town. So in the beginning, I just say to my clients, don't worry about batteries. Burn your first set of batteries quickly, but have this thing work properly. Like, don't be disappointed. Don't if you're chasing someone, you want this thing to be bang on and work, and every minute it must send in. Mustn't be a problem. Otherwise, why have it? Don't bother with it. But once you've got them on and you're happy and you're confident with them, you can tone them down. While they're on the animals, we can send and update them to make them less sensitive and make your batteries last longer.
Would you be able to switch between like 2 cycles, like have your day cycle, sending out signals every, say, like half an hour or even an hour, and then that 6 to 6 when it becomes very sensitive, but have it do it automatically by itself and not me having to look it into a computer or something?
Yes. So what we do there is instead of having at the moment, let's say I set 300 by 300 milligauss and milliseconds, and I set it from 6 at night till 6 in the morning. It must track on motion, so it has to generate that much force for it to send. But if it lies down and it doesn't move, it's sleeping now for 2 hours, I can still say, while it's lying down, I want every 20 minutes. So it will send regardless every 20 minutes, and then it will send every 10 minutes when there's movement. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Cool. Because the thing is, we're not getting as many cows stolen in the areas as what we're getting them hacked.
Okay.
So that's a different story now than what, because now they're not walking, they're getting chased quickly, they get chopped, and then we have to catch them in that point. Is this going to be, can you be able to fix that?
So I would use the speed alerts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're seeing. We're not seeing a lot of stock theft amongst the cattle
Slaughtering.
farms. We're seeing a lot of slaughterings.
Yeah.
You know, and they go, they hack 5 or 10 in the night, and then they only butcher 3 or 4, and then the rest of, that's where your big loss actually is.
Yeah. So I would definitely use a speed alert.
You have to about it. Everybody in this environment, in this area.
So speed alert is going to be really, really good for you guys. A lot of the other farmers, they're not interested in speed alert. They go, no, it's fine. As long as my geofence is set, I'm happy. They check on them now and again. With speed alert, you are going to get now and again, you're going to get some false alarms. But if they're getting chased, you think about it, they're getting chased, there's a whole herd, and they're getting chased to go and hack 5 or 10 animals. You're going to have like 20 collars going berserk. Not just one. You know, it's just one speed alert. It means that the cow's maybe just banged its head and it's swung and it's picked up 11 k's an hour. Because if I take this device and I actually go like this with it, it's going to pick up speed. It's going to say I'm going at 11 k's an hour, but I'm actually not. I'm standing in one place, but I'm just swinging it. Okay. If you're getting 10 devices all suddenly now over 11 k's and 20 k's an hour, you've got a problem. So it will work for that.
Okay. Because that's, like I say, I think we can all agree that's everything where our problem is with cats on this area.
Yeah.
The stealing as well.
Theft is big, but my biggest losses in our area has been them chopping them up.
Yeah, it's very hard to use a tracker, GPS tracker, to stop someone hacking a cow. But if you can get an early warning system and know that they're there, you might be able to apprehend them, you know, and stop it from happening again. That's how it would work.
So you can set up your system that it automatically going to speed, say from 8 to 12 in the evening. Normally they steal about between I think 1 o'clock until 3 and 4 o'clock. So
Yeah, we found they rustle between 7 o'clock at night. They rustle, they get them already. Then they try and take collars off at that time, and then they move them at like 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning when the roads are quiet and everyone's sleeping.
Yeah.
That's how they've always worked. We've seen with the history, we've gone back and seen what they've done. And they love forests. In the KZN, they take them to forests, they create a kraal with ropes, and they leave them there sometimes the whole day, the next day, and then they move them in the night to the next place. That's how they operate. So what you would do there is you would set your speed alerts on the device permanently, but remember during the day, you're only getting, you're not getting any movement tracking during the day, only at night. So you would have your 10 or 20 or 30 minute interval that you want to set. You say, I don't care if this cow doesn't move or not, I want to know at least where it is every 30 minutes. So what I will do is I'll set the device to 30-minute interval without movement, but during the night, it must send me while it's moving every 10 minutes. Or I could even say send me every 5 minutes. Okay, then you're going to get a lot of pings. Okay, so you're going to burn batteries then, but it will work. It all depends on what you want to spend on batteries and what your scenario is. You could even say, well, let's set 10% of that 40%, let's set 10% to like really vicious, and then the others, so then you're only replacing those batteries more often. Does that make sense? So you're getting a sort of a variety of devices that are working slightly different and working in tandem with each other.
But you can put today's on, tomorrow the other 10, and the day after the other 10, so you can actually plan your lifespan of the battery if you put different sections on, different cows on per night. Can you do that as well?
So just say that again. You want to?
You've got 100 cows. Now you put 10 on tonight.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you put it off, and you put another 10 on tomorrow, and you put it off, and you put another 10, so your battery life...
we haven't got a solution for that. We can't do that because that would be physically me having to every day going and switching and changing device profiles. So what I would then suggest maybe is out of your 30 collars, you've got 10, 10, 10, you've got your 30 collars, maybe run those ones quite heavily and these ones less heavily. And so you're going to only replace a percentage of them more often than the other. It's very difficult to update collars like all the time.
The 60,000 rand cow, she gets
Every
5 minutes
100%.
report.
Yeah.
The 2,000 rand cow, she gets a once a month report.
Exactly.
Those are goodies, those are goodies.
Yeah. That's exactly it. That's why you can adjust each one accordingly and have them set differently.
That 4.5 Million Bull, it's got every second you've got a.
Yeah.
Put 6 collars on that.
If you
guys,
jump the cow, you know.
Yeah.
so I think, I'm not sure if there's anything else that you're not sure of, or I can recap if you're not sure of anything. What I suggest we could do is Jason, maybe I'll just send you I can send you like a presentation, or maybe I can get an email list of everybody and I can send the email list out, or if you have a WhatsApp group or something else, we can send it on a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, you can send it to me and then I'll
And then you send it on,
distribute
you
it.
must have a group,
Yeah.
So you've got the presentation which pretty much shows this, what you guys saw today. So the guys that aren't here can have a look at that.
Yeah.
And please, if they've got any questions, if they want a one-on-one with me, I love doing that. I can chat.
Probably have another 20 farmers that weren't here today, so this
Fine.
will definitely help them, and I can tell them to contact you as well.
100%. Yeah. And what we'll do is I'll send that presentation that I've got. I think you've seen it, which kind of explains it. And then if they've got any questions, we can chat, and I can explain it again, and you can tell me their concerns.
So just roundabout, this is about 2,000 rand a collar, like this.
Yeah.
And then it's a monthly fee,
Yeah. If you buy one collar, it's 55 rand a month.
55 rand a month.
Yeah.
So if you do 40 cows, it will be about 80,000 rand once off to get the collars.
No, you get it cheaper than 2 grand. It drops in price. It's 1 to 10, then 11 to 50, 50 to... Yeah, so let's say roundabout, yeah.
So for 30 cows, it would be, let's say, 40,000 or 50,000 rand. And then 55 rand a month.
Yeah, with 40 cows, you're going to go down to 45 rand a month. 45 rand a month per collar if you're having 50 live collars.
So it's about 1,200, let's say 1,500 rand a month
Yeah,
for the monitoring.
correct. So
So the initial investment is the biggest problem, and then
100%. Yeah, the initial investment is the biggest problem. I mean, there are rental companies. You can do a rental company and you can pay it off over so many years if you want to. I've got a company that would happy to do it for you.
What is the minimum amount that you need to order?
One.
Just one.
100%. Yeah. And like I said, what I like to do is if you guys are all, I don't know like where you guys farm and where your farms are in relation to each other, but perhaps, the guys that are interested, we could put up 1 or 2 gateways that cover those people that are interested as farms, okay? And then, if each, we do it as a bulk group buy. So let's say you want 10, you want 5, you want 10, we suddenly end up at 50 trackers. Well, I'm going to throw in a gateway.
Yeah.
Okay? That gateway will probably cover you guys, all of you guys. And maybe we buy one other gateway. So I'm happy to do that as one, like I look at you as one customer, but you're not one customer.
Yeah.
And so you guys benefit from the bulk buy. As long as we do the order at the same time. I'll tell you what, because I get the bulk discounts from my suppliers if we buy them all at the
Makes
same
sense,
time. So if we all commit to X amount, 5 collars, 10 collars, whatever, and then dummies as well, we work on that sliding scale pricing structure. I will work it as this group gets that discount for that purchase.
That's good to know.